Molly on the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. I'm so glad to finally talk to you.
As well you should be, dear.
Long-time listener. Don't always agree with you, but I trust your advice. You're right on so much, and there's so much crap out there, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
I'm just calling because I trust your opinion, and my husband and I both listen to you. He's the one that turned me on to you, and, you know, like I said, I don't always agree with you, but he's older than I am, and I know that you don't agree in having the threesome thing with being married.
Not sometimes, all the time.
I know. But he talks about it a lot, and I just turned 40, and like I said, he's 12 years older than I am, and he's always talking about it, and we fantasize about it, and I was just wondering, what do you think we should do? We have somebody in mind, and we won't get attached.
How do you know that?
It's another man.
Another man?
Yeah.
How do you know you wouldn't get attached?
I know I wouldn't.
How many men were you with before him?
Quite a few.
How many?
20.
20 men?
Yeah.
And you haven't had sex with anyone else in 20 years? Yeah, you have, haven't you?
I know he's listening.
Oh, boy. So, you see, it is possible that the sex could be so good with this other man that you might get attached.
No, I don't think so.
Or you might want to do it again.
I don't know.
Well, you might want to do it all the time.
I don't know.
You don't know because you haven't done it yet.
I know.
But it could happen.
I know.
Hey, and then what happens if that happens?
I don't know.
Dear, Dean tells me you have 2 kids.
Yes.
Don't you care about what might happen if you do something like that?
Yes, I do care.
Well, you should.
I do care very much.
Did you just call in here to get my stamp of approval? I'm not giving it.
We both love our children very much.
Well, you know what? This is something you should have done 20 years ago.
So it only goes one way? If it would have been a woman, you'd say okay?
Same, because you could get attached. Women get attached more than men do.
So you would say no to the woman?
Absolutely not. I would say absolutely not. Either way, no threesomes. No.
Thanks.
And by the way, you understand, I'm not coming from a moral perspective here.
No, that's why.
I'm an atheist.
I need to go.
I'm not a prude.
I'll go somewhere else.
I'm all in favor of threesomes if you're not married to any of the people involved. Which you are.
Okay. Well, I trust you.
You got kids.
I love my husband.
You should not be doing that.
And we just fantasize. So we'll continue.
You know what? Nothing wrong with fantasize. But
why does he keep doing that then?
Why does he keep doing what? Fantasizing about it?
Yeah.
Well, because he'd love to do it. Has he had sex with anyone in the last 20 years?
I don't know.
Other than you?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, you don't think so?
No.
All right. Well, he may be fantasizing about it, but it doesn't mean you should do it.
Okay.
There's real danger there.
Okay.
Think of your kids, please.
I love my children, and I trust your opinion, and that's great.
Again, if you wanted to do this before you got married 20 years ago, I'd say, woohoo, go, do it.
Okay.
But you had your chance, and there you were, 20 years old. You decided you didn't need to do that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Thanks a lot, Tom.
Thank you.
Love your show.
Thank you. Bye. By the way, I think he talked her into it. She gave in too easily. Now I'm starting to think she was hoping I would say no so she could go back to her husband and say, well, honey, I would do it, but Tom Leykis said don't do it. I don't know. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Jenny on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom Leykis. I actually don't tune in to you that often. I'm not an avid listener, and I don't agree with most of what you have to say.
How would you know if you agree with most of what I have to say if you never listen?
Well, from the times that I have listened, most of what you say I do not agree to.
The rare times you have tuned in. So you admit you don't know everything I stand for.
No.
And you haven't heard everything I have to say.
No, and I don't make a judgment on what you have to say all the time, just the times that I have listened to.
Mm-hmm. And
I still want to hear what you have to say regarding what I'm going to ask.
What might that be? We're all hanging by our thumbs here.
Well, men say that, some men or most men say that they want to be right and they should be right in a relationship, and the women should basically give in because they think they're always right. And despite them saying that, when you actually get into a conversation, argument, or a disagreement, they pretty much give in and admit that the woman's right in one way or another.
That's just because you have a vagina and they need access.
Well, I don't have a sexual relationship, so that's not a factor.
Well, men give in, though. That's why they give in.
Even though they know they're not going to get access to the vagina?
Well, they're hoping to get it.
Okay, what if they're a friend and they still give in when I have a boyfriend?
What are they giving in on? I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, for example, let's say, I have held conversations with men, and this is a problem I have with men, when they say that they have to always be right, despite the
What do you mean they have to always be right? What does that mean?
Okay, if you get into an argument about whether or not you should go somewhere, the woman should just, give in, and they should just go wherever the man wants to go. For example, just because the man should be right all the time.
I've never heard anybody say that.
Oh, really?
Really?
Well, then, I suppose then that's the answer to my question. Then the ones that I have been speaking with have held some weird positions.
I've never heard that. I mean, what I will say is that men pay most of the bills, especially when it comes to taking you places.
I haven't encountered that. I've paid most, actually, on all of my dates.
Well, if you were attractive, you should know men would pay.
They have offered, but I refuse because I don't want to let them feel like I owe them something for that.
Well, you do owe them something for that.
Well, right. I suppose they're wanting sex.
All right. So what happens is these guys know they're not getting any, and do they call you again?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, they enjoy my company.
Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus.
I suppose they're just going to go along with the pursuit until they realize they're not going to get it.
And do you ever just tell them flat out, by the way, I don't have sex with anybody?
I actually bring that up as one of the first points just so they know what they're getting.
Just before we get started, I just want to say this. I'm not having sex with you. I don't care what you've got downstairs or upstairs. I don't care. I am not going to have sex with you. No matter what you say, no matter how much we drink. It's never, ever going to happen under any circumstances. I'm just looking to make pals. I just want a buddy. Do you say that?
Well, I say that I'm a virgin, and if I see what they have to say about that.
No, saying you're a virgin makes it a challenge. You don't even tell them that.
Yeah, that's what they say. They actually say...
Don't tell them that. Don't. Right. But what you say is, I won't have sex with you no matter what you do.
Well, okay, that's the thing.
I'm just looking to make new friends. I've got friends, but you can never have enough friends. I want more friends.
I do say that, but I don't say never because I never say never, kind of a thing.
No, say never in this case, dear.
No, because eventually I am going to. It just
well, tell them. I didn't say it this way. I'll never have sex with you.
I can't make that conclusion right off the bat.
Dear, you just said you're a virgin.
Right.
And you have not given me your reasons for being a virgin, but I'm assuming it's by design that you're a virgin.
It's by what?
Design. In other words, you planned it that way. You want to be a virgin.
Right.
And you want to stay a virgin.
No.
When do you want to stop?
When I feel that it's all the factors and everything that comes into play is right.
What factors are those?
Well, first of all...
You don't think anyone's going to fall in love with you before he gets access to your vagina, do you?
Huh? Yeah.
You don't think a man is going to fall in love with you first and then have sex with you, do you?
I expect respect and care. And
so you've never met a man who respects you before?
Not to the level where, it wouldn't be just for the sex.
So a guy who would date you for 3, 4, 5 years without getting any, he would be showing the proper respect.
No,
too many years. All right, 2 years. Guy who dates you for 2 years.
There's a time limit on it. As a matter of fact, I would say that...
What's the longest you dated somebody?
6 months.
6 months.
fantastic.
And did that guy know that it didn't matter how long it went, you were not going to have sex with him?
No, I said that we would need to fall in love before I could, and
Dear, you clearly are young and inexperienced. Men do not fall in love before they've had sex with you.
Well, I've seen many of my friends in that wonderful situation, and I wish to mimic that.
You mean women?
Yeah.
The men, you know how that happens? The men lie and say they love you so they can get in.
Well, okay, let's say they're lying. What they display and how they're there for them compromises for their lying of "I love you," which they're actually showing love instead of just saying it.
Well, believe you me, guys do not fall in love until after they've had sex with you.
So you're saying there's not much of a difference between men and animals? Like the brain plays no function other than to...
Dear, any more than there's a difference between men and animals in the urination department. You know, when you gotta go, you gotta go. And it's not like, for example, what if I said to you, I gotta go to the bathroom, but first I have to feel like I respect you? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
So that's...
This is a biological function that men need to have.
I disagree. Don't you think there's differences between men? Because I'm sure some men are horn dogs. But
no.
There is...
I don't. It has nothing. Dear, again, you use a word like horn dog. Fact is, men have this physical need.
That's understandable. So do women.
No, well, dear, if you needed it that badly, you wouldn't be a virgin now, would you?
No, I just have this thing called control.
No, dear. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah?
Let's say you see a nice piece of cheesecake.
Okay.
All right? And you're hungry.
Right.
Do you eat it?
Depends.
On what?
On a few things. If I know I'm going to have dinner soon, then
What if you're really, really hungry?
If I'm really hungry, and is there any other food around, or is just the cheesecake?
You need something to eat. Do you eat the piece of cheesecake?
For me, no, because I'd rather go have a full-course dinner because I like dinner more.
Let's say you're on the road. Driving to Las Vegas, don't be a brick. And all there is, you stopped at Jack in the Box 50 miles ago and you picked up an individually wrapped piece of cheesecake. It's the only goddamn thing in the car. And there's not another service area for 47 miles. Do you eat the goddamn cheesecake? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, you eat the cheesecake because you're in need.
Right.
When you're in need, you fulfill your need, don't you?
Yes.
If you've gone 23 years without having sex, you are not in need.
I suppose the need develops after you've had it, experienced it, though.
Well, that's my point. You don't.
Well,
you say, oh, women have needs. Well, not you.
Food.
You don't need it at all.
Yeah, but if you've never had food, how would you know that you need the food?
If you didn't have food, you would die.
Yeah, but sex doesn't work that way, so the analogy kind
Again, dear, but regardless, you don't have those needs. Men do. Men have those needs. By the way, men have those needs before they ever have sex. When a guy is 12 years old and he gets his first National Geographic in the mail, he knows he has needs.
Then how do you...
He's never had sex with anybody from the Zulu Nation, but he knows he needs to.
Okay, so when he has men who are virgins, that means they don't have needs. So certain men do not have the need.
Well, yeah, those guys might have ED or some kind of other dysfunction. But the fact is, the normal, healthy man has a physical need.
I don't think they're going to die if they don't,
I'm not whether they're going to die, but they have a need.
Yeah, but you can control needs.
Why would you want to control them?
Okay, no, I wouldn't say you need to control sex, all the time, but...
Why would you ever need to control it?
Certain factors...
By the way, all the men that you're jerking around here, telling them, you want to go out on dates with them and they're never putting out, just about every one of them is getting laid by somebody else.
Oh, I know.
Oh, you know that?
I prefer them to go and take care of that when I'm not...
Why waste their time with you?
I'm not wasting...
No, why should they?
That's up to them, right?
But they haven't been given the truth, which is that you won't have sex with them.
They know that, though.
No, they know you're a virgin.
Yeah, they know I'm a virgin, and they're not planning on marrying me. Neither am I planning on marrying them.
So now you're saying you only have sex with somebody you'll marry.
Well, I mean, you know, when you say you're a virgin, that's like implied that you're waiting to marry.
That's like waving a red flag in front of a bull. You don't tell somebody you're a virgin. You tell them. In fact, you let them believe you've had sex with other people, but I'm not going to have it with you.
That's sad.
That gets them off your case. Then let's see if they want to date you.
Well, these men, they know. They tell me, I'm like, okay, if you're after me for sex, we should stop right here. And they're like, no, I actually enjoy your company.
No, that's not the way you say it. Because women, you want to know something? Women say that all the time, and then they give up. They give it up. You have to be more explicit. You have to say, it doesn't matter what happens here, we'll never have sex. We'll never have sex.
That's not true.
It is true. So far, it's been true 100% of the time. Brenda, on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Brenda.
Why don't you want any children, and are you ever willing to make any exceptions?
To what?
To having children.
Am I ever going to make exceptions? Well, I've never said never, because many times I said I would never get married again, and I kept doing it. But to this day, I have not had children by design because I like my career, and it would not be fair to children to have a career that requires me to travel or to be out all hours of the night or to move from city to city as I have in the past. It would not be fair.
Okay. Have you been with a woman that wants children and maybe you thought of making an exception?
Did I think of it? I did date a single mother, and I talked about that on the air. I dated a single mother, and that's about as close as I came.
But never any biological children?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
Why, do you think I should?
No, I don't think you should. I'm kind of in a situation where my fiancé wants to have a child, and I kind of don't want to for my own, I guess selfish reasons, you would say.
Nothing selfish. Well, put it this way. It's self-centered, but every decision we make in life is for our own best interests, whether we have children or we don't. I mean, people who have children are no less selfish than people who don't. People who have children have them for their own self-centered reasons. Why do they have them? They want to have kids that look like them. They want their last name, like Smith, to go on and on into history, into the future. They think that they have this unique view on life or morals, or they're particularly smart, and they're going to impart that to these little people that look just like them. It's just a big ego trip. But the fact is, whether you have children or you don't, you're doing what's in your own best interests.
I see.
You see. But here's the deal. You had better make sure that you have a definite decision on what you're going to do before you get married.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, there's no compromise on this. You understand? You can't have half a baby.
Well, I know, but it's like I love him and all, and I want to just make him happy, and if that's what it takes, I guess.
But will you be happy?
Well, I don't think so.
Well, if you won't be happy...
I don't think I'd be a great mother, put it that way.
Well, then you shouldn't be having children.
I know, but I've been with this guy for a long time.
Dear, I've invested in stocks that went down, and they never came back up, and I stayed in them, and they kept going down.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed in them, and they kept going down. And people would say, why don't you sell that stock? I'd say, well, I've owned it for 4 years.
Right.
And then ultimately I lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
Company went out of business. Had I sold early, I would not have lost so much money and time. But
right.
I did. The fact that you've been with somebody that many years, here's the mistake you made. You never had this conversation and took it seriously before.
No, we did. And initially I wanted children. And I guess this is, where your rules play into, don't have a relationship when you're young or whatever. Because during the relationship, you end up maturing and you realize, I guess, what you want. And initially I did want children. And now it's kind of like, no, I don't want any because, I don't know.
If you don't want them, you won't be doing them any favor to have them.
Yeah, I guess. I see what you're saying.
And you won't be doing your husband or your fiancé any favor either.
All right.
He deserves to have kids with somebody who wants to do it with him.
Right.
And it's very selfish of you to want to get married to him, and you either will not give him what he wants or you'll do it, but you'll be lousy at it.
All right.
Do you disagree with me?
No, I agree with you. I just, like, I've heard, well, once you have children, it'll be different,
There.
you know.
Once you have children, you can't put them back.
I know you can't.
And so if you're wrong, you're stuck.
Right, but then your feelings may change, right? I mean...
They may or they may not. I do know that children bring more stress into a marriage, at least at first.
Right.
Right? And you don't know anything about taking care of children, and you don't appear to be very interested in it.
No, I don't. I'm not at all interested in it, I don't think.
Well, you know, dear, these things don't get better.
Well, see, that's why I wanted your opinion, because I know you don't want any children, and I know, you know, you don't have any that you know of.
By the way, I have ended many relationships over this.
Because the woman wanted a child?
Yes.
Really?
I have.
Oh.
My first marriage ended because I was married to somebody who said she didn't want to have kids. And I said I didn't want to have kids. And 2 years in, her aunt, who at the time was 43 years old, had one of those surprise babies. Her kids were 13, 11, and baby. She wasn't planning on having any more kids, and poof, she had another kid. Okay, so my wife at the time went out to visit her aunt and saw the baby, and he was so cute. They walked to the park, and he was in a stroller, and it was so cute. She came back. She said, I've changed my mind. I need to have a kid. And I said, well, you understand, I got a career ahead of me here.
Right.
And she said, well, I understand, but I've changed my mind. I said, well, yeah, we had an agreement. She said, well, that's okay. I changed my mind. I said, but I haven't changed my mind. And she was like, well, I'm going to stop taking the pill. This is what she told me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I told her my line where I said, I'm going to use the oldest form of birth control known to mankind. It's called a sofa. And that was pretty much the end of our relationship. You don't want to get into a situation where you do this.
Her?
I did, very much.
Oh.
I did, but here's the deal. Would it have been, by the way, if I had a kid...
So you weren't willing to sacrifice anything for her, or...
Not that.
Oh.
Not that. Because I'd be, you know what I'd be sacrificing? My career.
Right.
And I was not willing to do that.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, dear, if I had done that, you and I would not be having this conversation. Because I wouldn't have gotten to this point in my life.
Right.
You understand that?
Yeah, I understand.
Having a kid for me. Now, there are people who've done this. They have kids. But for me, had I done it and I had to move around the country, and I've lived in 8 different cities, if I had to do that and with a kid, eventually I would have just said, the hell with it. I'll just stay in Phoenix, or I'll just stay in Miami, or I'll just stay in Albany. Because the kid doesn't want to keep moving all the time. Right? Now
Okay, Tom.
all right, so the deal is, dear, if you don't want to do this, you shouldn't do it.
I know, but I just thought,
The fact that you spent time with this guy only means that, you know, you started too early on the relationship before you were mature enough to have a serious relationship. You didn't know who you were yet when you started the relationship, and now you have a better idea of who you are.
Yeah, well, I think that's what it is, that I didn't know who I was. I mean, I've always been mature, but...
Well, now you know who you are. And
right.
And you're not a mother, are you?
I don't think I'm a mother.
No, you're not.
No.
No. So you shouldn't do it. And I can hear in your voice you're going to do it anyway. You're going to marry him and you're going to give him what he wants. I can tell. I'm feeling it. I can tell by your responses that you're going to do it anyway. And then 5 years from now, you're going to call me, Tom, I'm a single mother, and my kid is 4 years old, and I'm miserable.
See, I told him that if I have children, then he's basically going to take care of them and do for them whatever.
Well, yeah. You know, by the way, did you ever... I went through this with my parents and my dog. We adopted a dog out of the classified section of the paper.
Uh-huh.
This is a dog that they were giving up for adoption because he couldn't be housebroken. So we adopted this dog, and my father said, if I get you a dog, you're going to take care of it. I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. Till the dog got there. Suddenly it was like, whoops, forgot to feed him today. Uh-oh, forgot to clean up after him today. Whoops, forgot to put him outside. Your fiancé will say anything he has to say to get what he wants, believe me.
I know, huh?
Yeah, so, proceed with caution, dear. Maria on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I have a quick question for you. I was curious to know what your thoughts were in regards to couples who are married but swing.
I've never seen an attractive swinger. Ever.
Well, I actually have.
They tend to look like nudists, who also, I've never seen an attractive nudist.
Well, for the most part, I would agree with you, but there's a very vibrant swinging.
Well, if you agree with me, then who are you swinging with?
Well, actually, I'm not.
Let's say you're the only attractive swinger. Well, who are you going to be swinging with?
Well, I think the idea...
By the way, I think the term swinging is hysterical. It's so dated. It's so retro.
Do you?
My husband and I were swingers.
Very alive, so I
just imagine you being in the hot tub and doing some blow in the 70s and listening to the Eagles. Yeah. You're swingers.
That's actually not what they're doing at the swinging clubs that do exist in Seattle and north of Seattle. It's a bit beyond that. It's mostly about the sex. So I was just wondering, since you're...
So you don't care what they look like as long as they're willing to swing with you?
I don't know that that's true for all swingers.
I'm asking you.
Oh, do I care? No, I do care.
You do care what they look like? How long does it take to find an attractive couple to swing with?
Well, I'll tell you, most of the couples, and it actually was kind of dated. It used to be called kinky couples in Seattle. There were some pretty hot-looking couples, very hot. They were mostly doing some sort of on the edge kind of a thing. I don't know what you can say anymore on the radio, but there were some very attractive people, some very unattractive and heavy people.
You ever watch? You never read a nudist magazine?
Well, it's swinging and nudity is kind of different to me. And
it looks like the same people. Those people look the same.
Well,
I love those nudist magazines where they show pictures of people engaging in activities. Like you see a bunch of fat, balding people singeing the hair above their pubes there while they're barbecuing hot dogs.
We're not
grainy black and white pictures.
Yeah, well,
with a bunch of perverts like buying these magazines so they could see the families with the 13-year-old girls and everything. You know the deal.
Yeah, well, that's nasty. I'm talking about couples who enjoy sex and are married and are interested in having sex with other people.
If I need to do that, I don't need to be married.
I was just curious. So
that's the thing. Why do you need to be married?
Well, one doesn't need to be married, but there are couples who do enjoy.
But if you want to have sex with whoever you want to, why do you need to be married?
Well, that's true, and for some people,
why get married? How about why get married if you're going to be continuing to have sex with other people?
Well, I think that for each couple, they want the relationship that they want to have, and if that includes marriage, then that's what they're going to do. But I was just curious about couples who are married and are committed, but also really enjoy sex, and they do exist, and they swing. And I was just wondering, but it doesn't sound like your prerequisite sounds like being married is the issue. So.
Well, I just say I don't see the purpose of being in a relationship, frankly, if my interest is in going out and having sex with other people. To me, the only reason to have a relationship, forget about marriage, just a relationship, is to have intimacy. Yeah. And to me, intimacy means you got a relationship with one other person.
Yeah.
And to me, if you're having sex with other people, you don't have intimacy.
Well, that can be debated, and I don't think you've experienced that to its fullest extent, Tom, because I know other people have, and they're very intimate, actually, with their lovers. Some lovers are long-term, some are short-term, and they do have their...
Well, what do you mean? How can you have intimacy with somebody short-term? We had a very intimate relationship for 48 hours. It was intimate.
Well, it depends on, for me, an intimacy, especially if you're having a pretty hot weekend with someone or your spouse or whatever, it's a level of intimacy. It's a level of, naturally you're having sex the entire time, so I would say that's pretty intimate. I would say having sex...
No, having sex is not intimate. especially for men.
Intimate. Oh, okay.
No.
Well,
I've had sex with many people I knew. There are people I've had sex with, I cannot tell you their last names.
Well, that's getting...
Do you know I once had sex with a woman? I did not know her first or last name until she sent me an email and it had like her signature at the bottom. I didn't know.